This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. We are now joined by Ted Muszynski, the owner and operator of Western Mass Hypnosis Center. We're excited to talk to him today about the art of hypnosis and, of course, how it's helping you in so many different ways, whether it's stress, creating more confidence, weight loss. There's hundreds of ways that he can help you here today. And please welcome back Ted to the show. How are you?
Great. Thank you, Julie. Thanks for having me on again.
Well, pleasure to have you. And for those that may not know, just a little bit of your background, tell us specifically what you do, and then we'll dive into today's topics.
So we're located in Western Massachusetts, in Holyoke, actually. We've been in business for over 19 years. Like Julie said, we help people quit smoking with weight loss and various stress relief methods, including PTSD, phobias, general anxiety, even depression.
Perfect.
That's in a nutshell. What would you like to cover today?
Well, for today, I think stress, right? I think that's a good one to start, right? And the relief from that and some of the fundamental steps. If you could talk a little bit about that, I'd appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, piggybacking on 2 weeks ago, we covered the basic structures of how we get it done. So let me bring it down to a level that an average person coming in for a consultation will get to know and understand. So, for instance, what's going on in a hypnotist's office? They want to hear what the problem is, and then they want to give you an explanation of what they're going to do so as not to scare you off. Okay? Now, one of the things that you might hear when you're doing your own research with other hypnotists and so on is the use of this terminology called suspending the critical faculty. Sounds big, but it really isn't. It's conscious mind, you and I talking right now, and the people paying attention at home. It just means that this part of being awake and alive is the part of us that asks questions. Why'd you say that? What do you mean? How does that work? Etc. So what we do in hypnosis is we get you into a relaxed condition. I guess the best way to describe it is if you can, I know you can, if anybody can, remember the last 90 seconds before they fall asleep. You're actually in a state of hypnosis, okay? Which means your brain isn't fighting you anymore and asking any questions. That's why the best time to drop let's say a suggestion to a young child as you're telling them their bedtime story about moral behavior or good behavior in school or someplace like that, the last 90 seconds before they start to go, okay, mommy, and then they start to drift off, that last 90 seconds is the time that they will accept your suggestion and won't fight it. You know how it can be with a child, leave those cookies alone. No, I want one. Okay, there's a fight. So the critical faculty is the waking state, meaning we ask questions. But when we're in a hypnotic state, we don't ask any questions. We just do what we're told by ourselves, primarily. A hypnotist takes over that role because we give them permission. Okay. So you told me a few weeks ago that you studied dance. So you had to show up at that dance studio for the very first time that you had taken on lessons. That was your job. You had to show up. The second part was you had to permit yourself or allow yourself to follow the teachers or instructors' instructions or what they were showing you. That's why you did well at it. Now, maybe you had a kid or two or a younger person or an older person, for all I know, who was resisting the teachings or arguing with the dance instructor. You may have seen that. So that's the critical faculty kicking in. They might be scared. They might be embarrassed. They might be afraid they're going to do something wrong, and then the class will laugh at them or something like that. So this goes through people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do in hypnosis is we get around all that by having you relax in a nice, comfortable chair, maybe
Mm-hmm.
reclined, and then the human body and mind tend to stop fighting. When you allow suggestions in, that's when we learn. If you ever remember being in a class in school when you were in your 20s, or teen,
College. Okay.
and you liked the class or you liked the teacher or professor, one of the factors happened was that you gave yourself permission to enjoy it, and thus you learned it well. The classes you didn't like so much, what did you do? You
Mm-hmm.
resisted, and you pissed and moaned about it at home or under your breath to yourself. And then maybe you missed the homework or you didn't get the lesson, etc., because you said it was too complicated. So here's where we go back to 2 weeks ago. And once we've got the person relaxed, we are suspending their critical thinking, if you will, and letting them just absorb information. And it needs to be congruently absorbed. So,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
again, I'm going to go back to your dance class. Did you ever have an interaction with another person in the dance class who had a sour puss on their face when they came in for one of the lessons? Not all the time, but one of the lessons.
Of course. Yes.
And maybe the instructor or the professor or teacher, whatever you guys call a dance instructor, she said something to them like this, called her by her name or the guy, whatever it was, and said, put a smile on your face and you'll feel much better. That little tidbit, when that person changed the smile, then she said, yes, okay, now continue on doing the dance move that I want you to do. So what is that telling you? That tells you that in order to be in the right state,
Mm-hmm.
we have to be congruent with what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay. You may have heard, you may even have noticed this when your father was trying to fix something when you were a little
Mm-hmm.
girl, and he wasn't too happy about it. And he slammed his thumb on the hammer because he was paying attention to something else. In other words, his mind was off on something else. That's incongruency. That means we're not matching our thoughts or our words, the way we speak to ourselves, with the behavior that we're trying to accomplish. So in hypnosis, what we try to get you to do is to match your mind and your self-talk to
Okay.
what you're trying to accomplish as a
Yeah.
person, whatever that may be. If you're afraid of snakes, we're going to try to make you think of them as, they're no big deal. As long as they're not anywhere near me, I'm happy. Okay, now if a
Mm-hmm.
kid sticks a snake in your face, you may still have the reaction. But on the other hand, let's look at a person who's trying to get on an airplane because they're afraid of flying. If their self-talk is very negative and they are trying to get on that plane, they're going to have a very anxious time about it. All right. But if we can get them to start saying, wow, what a nice plane. Look at these seats. Look at these windows. Oh my goodness, this is going to be exciting. Hypnotically, we induce these kind of sentences. And that person has a smooth, comfortable, happy ride without that bouncing in their heart
Yeah.
anxiety that they had. So this is what hypnosis does. We help you to get what you want, the goal you came for us to accomplish, and to make it happen congruently so that you begin to speak like a professional in that field. So if you're trying to get rid of anxiety, you're going to be talking as a comfortable, confident person, not an anxious, nervous one. Okay? That's the difference. And the adoption of the new behavior is just
Mm-hmm.
putting the old behavior and conditioning it until it becomes consistently your new own behavior. Think about how nervous you were when you were driving your car for the very first time.
Yeah.
You're not that nervous today driving, although you live in you're somewhere near there.
Yeah, right?
It may be a little bit of a nail biter driving home.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, most of the time you just tell your spouse or yourself, I'm going here, and you grab the keys and you go. And there's no, you put up with the BS that happens out in the road.
Yeah, right?
All the other drivers. So you're not intimidated by it anymore. You have confidence and you behave accordingly. Now, you may come home from one of these rides and say to your spouse, you wouldn't believe this idiot just pulled out of the driveway on me. He almost hit me.
So
But
true.
you went around them and you missed the other guy coming at you.
Yeah.
And you've accepted that as it's part of the ball game. You see the difference? If a person's full of anxiety, they are having a hard time accepting the normal ins and outs, if you will, of a particular problem. I.e., if they're afraid to drive, they're afraid of what the other driver might do. And they're afraid of their ability to react. So we have to get them to become congruent in, I'm a good driver, I'm confident, I'm gonna go get it done. And that's it. It's just that simple. And that's what hypnosis does for you. It helps you to settle it in and be comfortable with it as if it was naturally your way of doing things.
Yeah.
You know, if you talk to somebody with anxiety or nervous issues, you listen to them describe it. That's their world they're telling you about. And it might be scary and chaotic to them inside their mind. We have to make that as pleasant as this background behind me.
Beautiful.
So they're relaxed and they're happy with it. And that's what we do. And that's the whole idea behind the whole process. And any good hypnotist will do the same thing for any person.
Wow. Well, you've been doing this for quite some time. For those that may not know a little bit of your background, I just like pointing it out because clearly you have a lot of experience in this, and there might be some new listeners to the show. And I want to, just have you just tell a little more deeper about, the work you're doing. And then we'll continue talking for
Yeah.
stress.
So you want me to talk about my past
Yeah. Just a little bit of your experience, and then we'll continue over to the stress work and how this all works and why people are going to reach out to you.
Sure. Basically, I got my start about 32, 33 years ago, but it was the point of going to work for other hypnotists, and Tony Robbins was who I started with. The idea behind it came from my childhood.
Yeah.
Because I had migraine headaches when I was 7 and 8 years old. And my parents took me to neurologists and had me checked out. And they said everything was fine, but they did have a doctor on site who was a practicing hypnotist. And he was able to do just one session with me. And within about 6 months, the headaches were gone.
Wow.
So I was living in a state of anxiety. And as a little kid, you don't know you're in a state of anxiety.
No, of course. Yeah.
You know? So these are aspects of, that surfaced later on in my life as I wanted to do work with people and help them get through different problems. As I studied the subject, as I went to work for different people who were hypnotists, I learned the different methods that helped me as well relax first and get over my own humps and difficulties in life. And then I was able to do it for other people.
Oh my goodness. And clearly this works. We've talked a lot about, your client experiences, and I know there's some great ones we're going to share as well. But, people, also may be like, well, okay, how do I, do this? Do I go to the hypnotist? The fear of going to the hypnotist might be something they need hypnosis from. The fear of going somewhere new or doing something different, right?
So one of the things that I do, I don't know if every hypnotist does this, but I offer a free consultation. People come into the office, we get to meet each other face to face, and we talk things through. And if they're a good candidate, if they are willing to allow me to do the work, if you will, there's usually many programs that I can fit them into. We just don't try to pigeonhole somebody into one little box. Smoking cessation has 9 programs. Weight loss has 12. The stress relief category has over 130. So we have something for you, but we got to go through some tests to see and explain away the fears you just talked about. Because most of them are created by the movie industry and Hollywood and people's perceptions. There's a lot of false perceptions in about hypnosis, and he's going to get into my mind. Oh, he's going to do this to me, or she's going to do that to me. And or, people want to know how, are you going to make me run around like a chicken or something like that? So these are things that get answered in the consultation. And I always recommend to my colleagues, if they don't use this method of taking the time with a person to have a free consultation, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
That's where you establish rapport, and that's where you establish trust, that you're not going to do anything weird to them, and that their misconceptions are clarified, and
Mm-hmm.
they truly know that there's nothing to worry about. And it's a very natural thing. I think we covered this in the very first session briefly, like the part when you're going to bed, the last 90 seconds before you fall asleep. People trance out when they're driving a car. Have you ever driven a distance and forgot about the last few miles?
All the time. A little scary, right? Yeah.
Well, yes and no. Let's make a comparison.
Okay.
All right. So you said that's a little scary, but you got there.
True.
So who was driving? Well, your subconscious was doing the driving because it's been internalized. Whatever you're good at, whatever your spouse is good at, whatever your trainers or bosses are good at, they've already internalized that. Okay. So it's in you naturally. That's why we use the subconscious mind. But let's take that a step further. And I'm not going to assume that this ever happened to you, but some of us, by the age that I'm at or younger, may have had an opportunity where we were driving early in the morning after a shower and fully on our way to work and started to nod off at the wheel. Caught ourselves. Now that's scary.
Yeah.
In comparison, that one you're absolutely afraid of because you even do something about it. You discipline yourself. You pull over and get a coffee somewhere. You throw water in your face. You swear you're going to bed earlier. The bottom line is when you're daydreaming and driving, you're not afraid that even though you got your mind on 10,000 things, which are very important, a ball rolls out in the road, you know exactly to put your foot on the brake and start looking for the child chasing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's automatic. And you may get upset if you see that happen, but you're not frightened that you can't continue driving. So the difference between daydreaming is you're in full control. But when you start to fall asleep, that one scares us truly. And that's the difference, because daydreaming is a state of hypnosis. What person hasn't gone to school when they were young and sat there and been told by the teacher, young lady, the blackboard is over here. You can look at the birdies out the window after class. Okay, that's a natural occurrence. Why? Because we get bored. Our mind drifts. Our mind needs occupation. And sometimes the class doesn't do it. So what I'm saying is daydreaming is a natural state we go in and out of all the time. So that means hypnosis is a natural state that we already do automatically.
True.
It's literally automatically, like blinking. You don't think about blinking. You just
Not
do
at
it.
all. Yeah. No.
I mean, you have to have staring contests in order to defeat it, because it's not like, okay, prove to me that you can blink. It's okay, prove to me that you can keep your eyes open for more than 15
Yeah, right.
or something, So this is the general idea. This is how you help people get past the fear that if it's a natural occurrence and they're doing it every day and they're not afraid of it happening to them, daydreaming, what's the problem? I mean, the next thing, and slowly by answering their questions during the consultation, you are appeasing their perceptions. You don't diminish them, but you help them to get over them and see that it's not as big a boogeyman as they may have made it out to be. And of course, Hollywood has a purpose. Hollywood is an entire industry of doing what? Telling stories. How many of us heard scary stories from our parents or from our brothers and sisters when we were little? I don't think there's a person in the world who hasn't. So the idea is, this is an entire industry that does this. They tell stories and they advance it for their own benefit.
True.
The better the story, the more money they make. Okay, fine. But the bottom line is sometimes they take, what is that terminology? Creative license or something of that nature. And they add stuff that isn't really accurately true. And this is what we have to help people get past. And that's how we do it.
Beautifully said. All right. Well, also, with the hypnosis process, clearly, there's a lot of other things that you can help with. I know stress, we talked about, weight loss, smoking, to stop that, pain management as well, and building confidence. Those are two that I didn't really know about until I started speaking with you.
Yes, pain management is doable. Even people with fibromyalgia
Mm-hmm.
can be helped with hypnosis. Um, I used to have a colleague in the nearby city of Springfield, and she used to work with patients who recovered from cancer surgeries and various other um, very uncomfortable, painful uh, physical recoveries, uh, even suffering recoveries from home and uh, past surgeries, etc., where
Mm-hmm.
convalescence is 6 months to a year, etc. Very, very difficult stuff. And we also have, I've helped a lot of people who are um, caregivers of people who are terminally ill. These people need an incredible amount of support and break time.
Yeah.
And basically, for every half hour of hypnosis, you get the equivalent body rest of 2 hours of sleep.
Wow.
So when you're helping these kind of people, they don't always have a lot of time. And we did touch on this lightly on the first session,
Mm-hmm.
where I had a friend of mine whose wife became had dementia, and she became debilitated to such a degree that he became 100%. Her husband became 100% caregiver,
Ah.
and for the first 3 years, and it was like taking care of a baby uh,
Ah.
in the diaper stage, and you're dealing with a grown woman, and her mind was gone. And so this is the kind of, like he used to tell me, the only thing that he had to look forward to was 10 minutes a day when a neighbor came over to let him walk his dog and eat his lunch.
Wow.
So now you're talking 24/7 um, caregiver. And those
Ah.
people get stressed out beyond belief. And we don't hear
Mm-hmm.
much about them, but a good hypnotist will be able to help them cope with all that and give them that effective break that will give them that energy to continue doing it because they do it by choice.
Yeah.
Right now, I have a person that I see, his brother is taking care of his 101-year-old father because his brother swears he's not going to let his father go into a nursing home. Okay.
Yeah. Ah.
But the other members of the family don't have time because they have an active family life. This man is not married and he's in his 50s and he has the time to do this, but he's still got to do it. And he's
Mm-hmm.
functioning with his father as his father deteriorates and he's exhausted constantly. So
Yeah.
this is another avenue of what hypnosis can do for the caregiver. The pain
Yeah.
management, those are specific classes and sessions that we do with the actual victim of a medical condition that
Mm-hmm.
the chemicals aren't working or they've been taking them too long. Somebody once told me, and I didn't know it because they were in the medical field, but they said, you can get used to Tylenol to such a degree where it has no effect on you. I said, well, that's pretty true
Really?
of most medicines. Even morphine can
Wow.
overdo itself and it doesn't stop the pain, but it continues to make the person lethargically disintegrate inside. So we're in a place right now where we're trying to learn more ways that are functional and effective. Probably one of the reasons why people have gone to um, herbal medicines and Chinese medicine. What the heck did they do? I mean, we have acupuncture around, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have the chemicals that we had, and yet they still had some of the illnesses and the debilitating pain that other people had here in this country. They had it in their own country, so they found other ways. So we're not beholden to these chemicals, but
Yeah.
there's side effects and there's problems, and we're looking for better ways. And that's why we're on this show, because that's one of the reasons why you do this. Um, you're trying to help people find better ways, and I appreciate that tremendously. Believe me, your
Oh,
work is
well,
fabulous.
It's not me. It's the people I get to talk to like yourself that are doing so much. I love that about my job. I get to talk to so many different people in so many different fields, and I'm just so happy to bring other people's stories and lives and, services to everyone who's listening. It's awesome. And the
You
work
just
that,
hit the nail on the head.
what,
You're making the connection to other
yeah,
people that may not be exposed to this until they tuned into Jill's show.
true.
And that's where you come in.
Thank you.
Because, well, no, it's a reality.
Yeah,
It's like networking, but it's with a lot of people who would have, if they didn't have the interest and you weren't putting it out there, they wouldn't have found it. Maybe this year. They might
true.
have found it 5 years from now. You see what I'm
Yeah,
getting? The sooner, the better.
got it. Oh, wow. Well, thank you. We still got 3 more minutes left in the show. I'm not cutting you short. What else
Well,
do you want to add?
I don't have anything particular. I just, my business number is 413-397-2699. I'll talk to anybody on the phone and try to set up a consultation. If they're not local, we still do Zoom meetings and programs. It is an effective way to reach people outside the Western Massachusetts, Northern Connecticut area. But if you have questions, feel free to call. I'll be more than happy to answer them and steer you in the right direction. I'm also affiliated with two big agencies, the National Guild of Hypnotists and the International Federation of Hypnotists as well. And the contact with those two agencies can get you to find a hypnotist in your area very quickly, because I'll refer you to them. You'll make a quick phone call and they'll find you somebody that's close by if you're too far away. I had a lady call me from Canada the other day. She was in Montreal. It's not really a long ride, 2.5 hours. I said, but you can't keep doing that. So I said, call these guys up. They're world-renowned organizations and they have the contacts. So they will get you to help if you are too far away. So start looking, start seeking, start asking. That's the only way we can get through life, is seek, ask, and knock. You do it all the time. You're providing this program for us and for other people to seek us out or to seek you out and get the answers.
Beautiful.
And it's a journey. It's a step by step.
All right. Well, thank you so much. How do we contact you, my friend?
413-397-2699 is the direct phone line. Feel free to leave a message if I'm busy, but I will get back to you ASAP.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Looking forward to it. Hope you have a fantastic day.
You too. Take care, Jill.
Thank you. To all of our listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more after this. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.